Welcome back from the Mobile Gaming Fanatics. MyTyme here, this is Top Drives, and yes, I am back. It has been a long time, but the first thing I need to do is say thank you to everybody who has sent me a message asking if I'm okay, asking when I'm coming back. Yes, everything is fine, I am back. Apologies, I took a break without ever really planning to, and I just never got the motivation or the impetus to pick the game back up again and get back into things. Now, I did play a little bit over the holiday period, so we had the Halloween challenges and events and the Christmas ones. And as much as I enjoyed them and I thought they were pretty good, even if they were quite hectic, I just never got anything good or got involved in them enough to get anything worthwhile showing you guys. And I kind of just plodded along in the game. Now, so you can see, I do still have all my cars. Okay, I haven't gone and sold everything, nothing crazy's happened to my account, just didn't have anything new to show you all. So I picked the game up again a few weeks ago, started to play a little bit. I was kind of waiting for an event that I could come back in and bring something, and then bang, it happened. So with my dying PC, I thought, please let me get a video out, please. I mean, it is fingers crossed. Apologies if this does crash or goes wrong or takes 84 attempts, but we had the Peugeot 208 WRX Finals, which has a UK theme to it, and that's important because what I've been doing in the last couple of weeks is working on specific cars. Now, first of all, let me just show you the Peugeot, and I'll show you why I am keen to try and get this car. And we can come here and go to all cars, and it is this WRX here. Beautiful car, 1.80 to 60 miles per hour, 89 handling, but the really clutch thing about it is it has medium ground clearance, meaning it's going to be a great car to use in city streets, ocean city streets, those kind of events. Now, it doesn't have traction control or ABS. Not an issue because I'm not focusing on this in the rain anyway. It's got off-road tyres, so it will be useful, dirt, sand, all that good stuff. This car, I think, is going to be highly sought out from people, especially as I said, for those city street tracks. Now, what have I been doing? Well, I've just been working on cars, and it kind of made me have a think about what you do when you first start the game, or you've been playing the game for a while, and you want to know how can you put yourself in a better position to do well in events and to win the prize cars and the top rewards. And it made me remember, what you want to do is you want to go and have a look at your best cars and focus on them. So I look at legendary, I go to country, and I see that I have, excuse me, reset that. I click on legendary and I get rid of all cars, go to my cars, click on legendary. I come down to country and I can see that most of my legendaries are in the UK. That's my biggest concentration. So when it comes to UK based events, I have the most legendaries. So I bought packs to obviously influence that, but you can kind of see where your strength is, and it made me think, let me continue working on my UK cars, so when UK events come, I'm in the strongest position possible. I can look at epics and do the same thing again. There is a bit of a more balance here between USA, Germany and UK, but still got a good proportion of epics that are from the UK. And when it comes to ultra rare, again, UK is up top. Now, some of these are a bit higher because I'm holding onto ultra rares for fusion, but you get the drift. You can still see with 52 in the UK, I've obviously got quite a few in there that I have worked on or built up. So the idea is, when you know that, start working on those cars. And examples of that are both my McLarens. Now, both these McLarens are almost maxed out. I'm not planning on maxing them out. I think, to be honest with you, 2 upgrades into your legendaries are kind of where you want to be if you want to be competing for top 10 in events. And we will come to that in just a moment when we actually look at the finals for the Peugeot WRX. But you can see here, I've gone and worked on these cars. They're now in positions that if any UK event comes in which uses these cars or rear wheel drive, etc., I'm in a good position. Now, I've left the prize cars out for now, but as we scroll down, you'll see some other cars. I already had a maxed out Aston Martin from before. I've done some work to my number 9, which I'm planning to leave it as it is now. I've done some work to my Volante, as I plan to leave it as it is now. I've also gone and in these last few weeks done some work to my 760-20R. Now, this is one upgrade away from max, but the key thing about this car, it now beats the Caterham Superlight R500 in every race. So for 1 extra RQ, I have a guaranteed 50-point victory if we have an event which can use both these cars. So I've tried to position myself by putting a lot of my better cars in a place that they are ready to use for finals. Now legendaries are slightly different to epics, but even with your epics you want to have them maxed out. So during the weeks where there hasn't been too much going on, I've left the prize cars for now. I've just been maxing out my epics, apart from ones that I maybe got more recently. Even these Jaguars, which I got from the Jaguar event a couple of months ago. This one, 2 months ago, maxed that one out. This one, I think, is a little bit longer ago. Sitting in there, decided to max it out. Yeah, it's only been used 37 races, because then I knew that when an event comes that requires UK cars, I put myself in the best position to be competitive. And again, the KARTING here is one upgrade away from being maxed out, even though I haven't really used this car a lot. 529 races and nearly 1200 days isn't a lot, but it will be there ready to use. And obviously the same thing happens with your ultra rares. They're easy to upgrade. Make sure you get all your ultra rares ready. So when an event like this comes up, I can now hopefully be competitive. Now it's a bit misleading because it's BMW and Bentley, so I'm like, but you kind of can work out the requirements anyway. We can see petrol, 4 to 5 seats, BMW, Bentley, saloon coupe and SUVs. Now as we come across and we look at the prizes, top 2 tiers are where people are going to be wanting to finish to get the prize car. Now if you can't finish in the top 10, I would say there is no importance trying to finish in the top 20 over the top 40, okay? The rewards at the bottom are exactly the same. The only difference is the actual epic car you get. And I don't think the RS4 is good enough to pick over winning the S65. I think you just get either and be happy to get an epic. So if it means spending resources to move yourself from a comfortable T4 into T3, I don't think it's worth it. Spending some resources to move yourself from T5 into T4, maybe, because you're getting a guaranteed ultra rare here, where here's a guaranteed epic, fair enough. But again, if you're just looking for the carbon fibers and you're not too worried and you can guarantee yourself a top 80, and you don't, then you know the upgrade to get the guaranteed ultra rare is good. Sorry, the guaranteed epic is good. The upgrade to get the Audi, however, not so worth it. And then finally, you can still get a guaranteed ultra rare if you finish in the top 180 along with that ceramic pack. So to get into the top lot, I'm going to be looking at teams that are going to hopefully get you in this region here. Now we can see at the moment I'm 26 for 17. Kind of ignore that because I've been doing a lot of testing, because I've got a lot more wins than the majority of people and a lot more defeats because I have been trying things out. Now for the sake of the YouTube video, again, I will use some of my gold for some more tickets, and I will kind of hopefully show you what you want to do. Now first things first, if we have a quick look at all the cars that you can use in this finals, we will see that there are a couple of BMW Legend. Oh my gosh, this isn't even recording. Oh, it is recording. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Heart and mouth for a moment. Okay, yes, we can see that there is 2 BMW legendaries that are very, 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 very strong in this event. Okay, both of these 2 cars you're going to see around a lot if people have them. We then come down and have a lot of Bentleys that are very, very similar. We start to hit the SUVs in terms of the Bentegas, a couple more Bentleys, the BMWs X5s, X6s, which we'll come back to, and then a standard tyre BMW here. Now there is a lot of rain. There are some medium city streets and there are some small city streets. We will get back to that in a moment. As we can see, plenty of epics to pick from as well. A variety of Bentleys and BMWs with medium and low ground clearances, a couple of the BMWs with standard tyres again, and a couple more higher ground clearance cars. Then as we come and hit the ultra rares, these aren't going to be important if you're trying to look for those top kind of 40. You might be using one of these cars in your team, but anybody who's got to kind of use 2 or so, I think you're going to struggle to end up in the top 40. So they are the cars. If we come out of this, and I will show you, my initial hand was just to literally pick my 3 best cars. I knew there was at least one city streets track. There's at least one city street medium on every track set, and on 2 of the 4 there'll be a city street medium and a city street small. So I decided to throw in my Bentley, and then I went with my next best RQ car that had medium ground clearance, in this case the 440i. Now I was doing that. I was then working on my M240. You can see it's still in the process now. It's been upgraded. The theory being that this would swap out for the 440i. I'd have my power cars, my medium ground clearance car, and then the second medium for half the track sets when I need it. And when I didn't need it, it was going to be like just my throwaway car. This worked pretty well. However, I have found out a few things, and it doesn't make it the best lineup in my opinion. So what do I suggest for you guys out there? I suggest, if you can, you will go for 2 city street cars, okay, as good as you can. Now the best ones you can get are the X5 and the X6. I might be able to show you that, but just trust me, these are the best cars. If you have them stock, so no upgrades, it's 1.3, 1.3, 1.3, then they will lose to cars like a maxed out Flying Spur, a maxed out 760. If you have 2 upgrades into them, say one into their chassis, one into their engine, the X5, the X6 are going to win, okay? The X6 being slightly better than the X5, but these are the best 2 medium cars that you can go, cars for the medium ground clearance circuit that you can get. So in my opinion, they are a must pick. If you don't have them, you're going to want to be using the Flying Spur or the 760, okay? So you need to have at least one car capable of potentially winning the medium track set for you. And in this case, it makes, for me, the X5 the first pick. Now, I was contemplating using 2 Bentleys, but there's just not enough, should we say, usage for the actual Bentleys in the track sets. They don't really do anything particularly well apart from have a high top speed. The Bentley Continental 24 is better than the number 9, okay? It is better than it from acceleration points, everything. The problem is I have put a few upgrades into my number 9 and it is 2 RQ cheaper. So in this example, I am bringing in the number 9. I do know that it will lose. I'm pretty sure it loses to the Continental in the drags when you do the 1 mile, etc. But I had to bring this car in for a reason. You'll see in a minute. The next thing I've also known is the M5 is an absolutely crucial car. You're going to see pretty much everyone in the top 10 probably with one. Some of them will have multiple. Some of them will have the M5 black version, not the delimited, the black car. That one isn't quite as key because its top speed is capped, I think, about 159, 160, something like that. So definitely this M5 is the key GOAT car, followed by the X5 or the X6 for the city streets. Okay, here are your 2 GOATs. So if you're going to put some upgrades into anything, definitely these are the cars that I would recommend. Now there are 2 options. If you do not have a very good second choice car for the city street, so for example I'm talking about the Flying Spur or the Bentley, the Bentley or the BMW, just so you are aware, the 760 maxed out will beat the Flying Spur on the city streets medium and small, okay? It's going to have 3.00 to 3 seconds 0 to 60 and 87 handling. This is the choice out of the 2 cars if you have both of them, or you have them both maxed, or you're going to work on one of them. The BMW is the choice for this event. However, if you don't, and say you have something like the Flying Spur maxed out, the V8S, I would not bother bringing this car in because it isn't good enough, okay? It's just not a good enough car. With 78 RQ, this car isn't going to win the city street tracks. Instead, I would suggest bringing in the best you've got from a lower RQ bracket. So for example, 440i here, knowing it's going to lose, and then increasing your RQ points for your 5th slot to bring in the best car you can. So for example, for me it'd be something like the Bentley Continental GT. Knowing this car can help me out in the drags, the twisties, the rain, etc. It may not be the best, but it is another kind of maxed out car that I can use. So this is if you don't have a second good city streets car. If you do have a second good city street car, then I would suggest bringing that in. So for me, it is bringing in the Bentley Flying Spur, and then with the remaining RQ, putting in what I can. A car that is generally going to be a throwaway, but only lose by kind of 50 points. So the M6 for me does that. It can do okay on most track sets. It'll do okay in the drags without getting absolutely annihilated, and it will hopefully help me balance out the track sets overall. So my strong point here is the 2 track sets which have 2 city streets levels. That is my strong point. The 2 track sets where I don't have 2 city streets is where I can potentially be defeated. Okay, so what we can see here, I can tell you that Borstow is at the top, but my track set, my choice of cars here, this isn't the best track set for me. So out of choice, I'm going to avoid him, and I am going to come up against, this is the track set which doesn't really help me a huge deal because my cars aren't great, but you're going to have this happen. So let's just show you what this actually looks like. Now I'm going to win the city streets, and in order to win the city streets for this race, I'm going to put my X5. Okay, now I do also know that my Bentley Flying Spur will win, and you know, maybe because the Flying Spur isn't great, look, we'll leave it like this for now. Okay, so I've got a victory there. I also know that my Delimited is great, but it is lacking, I haven't no handling on it. Okay, so I can't win the G-force here against this guy's M5. I know I'm going to lose here. I also know on the Tokyo Loop that there is some upgrade into this guy's Continental. Can my Hulk win? I don't know, but I think I have to put the Hulk here. I know that this Bentley is medium ground clearance, so this is his second medium car, but it's also very heavy, so this should be a victory. So for me, I think the best thing to do is to put my M5 in it, take the victory. Now hopefully I've got 3 victories. Now I'm looking for 2 defeats. So to me, I just put the Flying Spur and the M6 out, and these 2 cars I expect to lose when I am not on the track set which has 2 medium ground clearance cars. Okay, these are probably my two I'd say worst cars for those track sets, the 2 cars which are almost guaranteed to lose whoever I'm up against when I'm playing people in the top 10. Obviously, depending where you are, it might be slightly different, but as you can see here, I'm skipping the races, allowing you just to see the times at the end in case you want to compare the times with so you know for when you're coming up against other people and that. And okay, unfortunately my Bentley loses against the Continental. Now I didn't know that. I do know that the Continental 12 is the better one of the 2, but as I said, didn't really realize that, haven't put those 2 together in that matchup, so I didn't know. Now if we come up and we'll go as high as we can with Steph Ping here, this is where this lineup excels against somebody who generally has 2 city street cars, because I already know that I lose if I put my Flying Spur here, but I will win if I put my Flying Spur here. I also know that my X5 wins the city streets unless it's against another X5 which has been upgraded, or an X6 which has been upgraded. I also know that my 02120 is going to be a victory for my BMW M5 against this stock M5. So I have 3 victories here already, which means I can take my G9 and my coupe and I can throw them away. This is one of the track sets which my team is designed, fingers crossed, to prevail at. So 50% of the time, hopefully I should win. 50% of the time I have a chance to lose. If I went for the other option and I went for the not so good second city street car, then every time there's 2 city streets I'm basically going to lose, and I can't be guaranteed to win the other 50% of the time because I don't have 2 BMW M5s. Okay, I'm missing it. I really need to swap this green Bentley out for a second M5, but I don't have that. I can do some upgrades. I can put an upgrade into the Delimited, which I'm probably going to do because it is a car that I want to work on. But that is the theory behind it, the theory crafting of, if you can bring in the 2 good medium cars, that's probably going to be the best bet. If you can't, don't sacrifice for like an okay medium car. There's no point. You'd be better off to save the RQ and try and go as strong everywhere else you can, and that's going to be the better second option. So again, here we can see this is the other set with the city streets. I can come against the top player Borstow now, and my team works out better against this lineup, with the drags etc. than it does when we are focusing more on the twisties. So again, I know that I can't get the victory here, but I can win and lose, so that those two races pick themselves. I can now see that I have a matchup of my Bentley versus his. I can see that he has got more upgrades here into his 1.5 mile, which means I'm better off to put my Bentley in the 1 mile, which is where I would normally plan to put it anyway, take a 50-point advantage. I also know that my stock M5 is better than his upgraded Bentley. The M5 is just better on the drags in all 3 track sets, even if the person has an upgraded Bentley. So the M5 gets a victory, and now I put my little M6 on the 1/4 mile, knowing it's going to lose, but it's only going to lose by 50 points. And here we go, this is the person who is in first. We are going to get the victory, and again I've got a lot of defeats next to my name, not because I've always been defeated by somebody else. It's because I have been obviously trying a few different things around just to make sure that I could tell you accurately which cars were going to win and which cars weren't. Now, we haven't seen really many cars with standard tyres being used. That's because most of the cars with standard tyres actually don't bring you any kind of advantage, okay? So just bear that in mind. Don't put all your resources into those BMWs with standard tyres, because they're not going to really win and bring you anything extra to the table. They will lose in those city street events. Let me see if I can show you some of them I'm talking about. As we scroll, some people I know did have some, maybe they have them in the top. You can see here, nobody in the top. There we go, Stefan has one. So 75 RQ BMW, this car loses both to my X5 and my Flying Spur, okay? Do we have any others? Not that I can show you, but you get the idea. The standard tyre cars are just not strong enough. I'll play Stefan here just to show you that. So track set isn't, if it was a medium, okay, if this was the medium or the small city streets, then the Flying Spur definitely wins. I'm not 100% sure how it actually fares on the mountain road because I haven't put the two together, but I will still show you what I mean. So city streets, we take the victory because we have our city streets king. This is a guaranteed place where this one is going to go. We then have a throwaway car on a karting circuit. This is one of the tracks where the M6 actually does a little bit better. I know the M6 is going to beat this guy's M6, so I have 2 victories. What I also know is I can't win this mountain hairpin, so I'm going to throw away my Flying Spur. The Flying Spur is kind of a waste. It's a wasted car when it's not been used on the city streets medium, so we look for somewhere just to offload it. And again, we're going to offload the Bentley Continental on the 1 mile, take the loss. And I know that the extra handling for my M5 is going to be far better than a rear wheel drive standard tyre car, and you're going to see it here. We go through, we win with the X5, which we knew was going to happen. We then come up against the M6 in the karting, and we're just slightly better. I don't think we're as good over the longer drags. I think 1/4 mile we win, I think 1/2 mile and probably further we would lose to that M6. There we go. You can see my stock M5 still beating out the maxed BMW 750i. Unfortunately, those standard tyre BMWs just don't bring enough to the table. We do lose with the Bentley Spur, but we knew that was going to happen. And then finally, as long as we don't get beaten drastically, and it isn't, there we go, we win. Okay, 150 to 106. And that's running in the track set, which isn't advantageous to us, and this is against a person who is vying for the top spots at the moment. Now bear in mind that as people upgrade cars and that, yes, things might change a bit. It is a full lobby. Some people may have joined, they may start to move up. Some of these people down here may have extremely strong hands, they just haven't been seen yet. Let me see if I can find some examples. I'll just see some 5 for 0s, but you know what I mean. You get some people 4 for 0. Maybe this guy has a great hand, he's only just entered recently. There might be some other people down here 3 for 0s, maybe people who have just come in 4 to 1s. Maybe they come up against someone really strong, but they've actually got a hand that could compete for the top. So it is a little bit kind of up in the air, but that is what I want to say. We've got a few minutes left for these cars. I'm going to end it there. I just wanted to kind of show you the build that you would probably want to go for if you want to end up in the top 20/40, definitely for the top 10. Okay, to have a chance in the top 10, you're gonna have to run 2 medium ground clearance cars. Okay, again, pick the 2 best you can. If you have 2 of the ones that I mentioned, the BMW 760, a couple of the X5s or X6s, or the Flying Spur, run those. If you can't, run the best one you can, and then put a filler car in to give you as much RQ as you can to put in 3 other great cars if you have them. If you do have them, the M5s are definitely cars to pick. If you don't, pick one of the Bentleys. No point having 2 of them. Obviously I said the Continental 24 is better than the number 9 edition here. I may even swap these around. I was hoping that the number 9 will be better if I'm up against a stock Bentley like mine on the G-Force etc, because it's got a handling upgrade. But if I come against somebody who's put an upgrade into their handling, then it's going to lose. And finally, a throwaway car, but one that kind of does everything reasonably well. Loses by 50 points pretty much everywhere, but it can obviously nick the odd victory as well, as we saw. So that will be that. Hopefully it should be a challenge, but a top 3 potential finish for me. I think top 10 with my current team without any upgrades is basically, I don't want to say guaranteed, but as long as I play the game, it should be something that I am able to get, because I don't think that the people that are going to be vying for the top 10 are going to be quite as well equipped as me. But if I want to try and get those top 3 spaces, I may potentially have to do an upgrade or 2 into one of my legendaries. Anyway, I've been MyTyme. Thank you again for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you have seen, please don't forget to comment in the comments section below, like the video so it helps me in the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't. And with that, I will be back again very soon. Good luck in your WRX finals. Let me know how you're getting on. Let me know if you have any tips for me that I may have missed out, and I will see you all soon.